Hello. Oh, no, no, no. Wait. I'm not ready for this. Let me cue my music. Hold on. Doo, 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 doo. Well, that was funny. See, that's what happens if you happen to watch this from the very, very beginning, or if you're watching the replay, you will notice that I pushed the wrong button and I came and I appeared before I was ready to appear. But that's neither here nor there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we celebrate that the end of the work week is over. It is Saturday. It is Saturday, April 16. And yes, the end of the week is over. And as always, yes, it is Sabadabado, says Raymond. Sabadabado. That's a new one for me. Usually we call it Sabadaba, but Raymond says it's Sabadabado. It is Saturday, and today we are going to, as always, play the Bay City Rollers because we can, and we're going to look at headlines from local sources, from state and federal sources, just to see what's going on. We're going to take a look at your comments, your ideas, your whereabouts, and we're going to gather all this information so that we can have an amazing life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Thank you very much for that, Kate. This is my Thank God the Week is Over shirt. Because I'm looking forward to 36 hours of vacation time. Ah, so as always, we are going to go through our news and we're going to go through our chit chat section. After the weather, I have Semana Santa related news, and why could we not? I learned about some strange behavior going on the Rio Cuale that I never heard of before, and I'm going to tell you about it. I learned that Mexican workers are the most stressed out workers in the world, according to the World Health Organization. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to show off my new sweat rag collection for this year because it's schwitz time again. So I am once again schwitzing, and you already know that. And we're going to wrap things up with a little love letter of the wonderful experience I had last night enjoying the concert by Brent Barrett and Mark Hartman at Encanto, which unfortunately, if you didn't get a chance to see, you won't be able to, at least not this time around, because last night was closing night. But I must share some loving thoughts about what I was privileged to witness, if you will indulge me. But we'll save that till the very end. We start with our news, as always. And as always, if you are new to this broadcast and you'd like to let us know, just write the word new. And that way, we'll give you a nice little welcome. If there is something important that you wish to ask, like Doug has asked here, he added a capital letter Q at the beginning of his comment, asking, in Mexico, do you say Feliz Semana Santa like Happy Easter? Not, no, not really. I don't hear that expression a lot. I'm sure that nobody will be offended if you wish them a happy Semana Santa. Um, but no, it's not as common as Happy Easter, I suppose. And I hope I answered that as eloquently as I could. Let's see. Okay, let's start with the news and we'll take it from there. Yes. Well, Municipal Tourism Director Ludwig Estrada has informed that Puerto Vallarta has welcomed 200,000 tourists this weekend. 200,000 people are out and about visiting our city, lodging at hotel rooms, condos, Airbnb offerings, and with family and friends. That's a lot of people. I'll have some commentary of my trip into Emiliano Zapata yesterday afternoon later on in the broadcast. We also learned that apparently there were some not so smart folks attempting to privatize beach access in Marina Vallarta. Yesterday, they were attempting to charge for accessing the Boca Negra entrance, which is, of course, public. I only hope that this was not only denounced here with Noticias PV, but that authorities actually put some stop to this. Elsewhere, in Pelicanos Beach, a filthy tourist was singled out by another tourist for leaving trash out and about, and the tourist number one got all frumpy and said, "Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?" And then authorities came, and authorities forced this filthy tourist to go back to the beach and pick up his trash and dispose of it the way everybody should. I was happy to read about that. Don't ask me why. But again, I'll comment on some of the things that I saw in town later on in the broadcast. And of course, it's good to see that the traditional Good Friday Via Crucis, or reenactment of the Passion of Christ, came back to Pitillal after 2 years of being suspended by the pandemic. There are other Via Crucis celebrations in other municipalities in the city, but the one that was reenacted in Pitillal is the one that is traditionally the largest and most important of the region. I actually don't know if there was one along the Malecon or not. This has happened in years past, but again, I don't know if this happened yesterday in town. Then I learned about this. This photo is not very helpful, but this is a photo of a prawn in the water, and I have never heard of this practice before. I am not even sure that this is related to Semana Santa or not, but apparently there are people in the habit of using poison to kill river prawns along the Rio Quale. This is another one of those notes published by Noticias PV based on reports that they receive, and unfortunately we don't get to learn here if there are actions taken or what, but I had never heard, and maybe some of you have, that there is such a thing as poisoning prawns in the river by to eat them. So it makes no sense to me why somebody would want to do that, eat poisoned prawns or to poison the river to begin with, but it's just weird. Have you ever heard of this practice? I had not. This is news to me. Anyhow, one more before we turn over to the weather. Health authorities keep announcing vaccination sites, now adding the regional hospital and the Pitillal Health Center to the list of locations where you can get your COVID vaccines. Why now and why everywhere? I originally thought it might be an odd attempt by the government to get people to pursue vaccination while they were on vacation. And this may be possible, but then a thought came to me, maybe this government is sitting on a bunch of vaccines that are reaching their expiration date, and they're just trying to get rid of them. I don't know. Regardless, it is good to know that they are available for those that still need a COVID vaccine, or whether it is a first shot, a second shot, or a booster shot. Let's take a look at the weather forecast just to see what we can expect during this Schwitzy weekend. The Schwitz. Where is my weather? Here is my weather. That's what I wanted to show you. Let's see. That cloud looks like a baby sloth wearing a hat. Okay. What it looks like to me is that it is 25 degrees right now, feels like 26. Humidity is low at only 34%, and I wonder why I feel the heat. I don't know. And our temperature is 78 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Our weather forecast for today says mostly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 33 and a low temperature of 20. Sunday, tomorrow, partly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 30 and a low temperature of 20. And we begin the work week with a clear day, Monday, and a high temperature of 32 and a low temperature of 19. Moving right along, I have one more news item that I read this morning that caught my attention. Does work stress you out? According to a statement made by the World Health Organization in 2021, that would be last year, Mexican workers are the most stressed out workers in the world due to peer pressure and a work ethic that frowns upon people taking breaks or not being available at all times or going on vacation. It is worth mentioning that Mexico is one of the countries in the world with the least number of vacation days, and that the notion of workers always being available on call can lead to mental health issues and headaches and sleeplessness and gastrointestinal problems. I think reading about this just made me ill because it sounds a lot like me. I'm going on vacation at the end of the month. I promise I am. Anyhow, let's see. I want to tell you a little bit about what I saw yesterday going into town, but not before showing you my new sweat rags. This is my 2022 collection. I'm all into ridges this year. So I've started making my sweat rags for this year because it's going to be schwitzy. All the ones that I had from last year have either been gifted or I just need to crochet. What can I tell you? But it's not about me. I want to tell you what I saw yesterday going into town. Yesterday, my friend Michal and I, my friend Sandy and I, we went into town to go catch the show by Brent, Barrett, and Mark Hartman. And I was very happy to see that the driver that took us into town took the city road, not so much the libramiento. And this was great because I got a chance to see what was going on the Malecon. And yes, there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people having fun, enjoying their vacation. And yes, we saw people behaving beautifully and we saw people behaving badly. And chances are some people that behave badly are going to get into trouble and so forth and so on. But ultimately, I was happy to see people enjoying themselves, which is what a vacation should be all about. Was it scary or intimidating? No, because, all we saw was the Malecon. We didn't get out of the car. And then, of course, we got to the venue. We got to Encanto. And before we went into the venue, we saw that the opportunity to cross the new Quale River Bridge along Insurgentes, and it is beautifully done. It is, of course, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Now, the work that needs to be done primarily in the riverbank itself, where the government is very busy dredging out all kinds of material to make sure that all the construction debris is eliminated before the rain season. But it was great to see the new bridge in action, and it was absolutely beautiful. And before I get into your comments, if you'll indulge me, I want to tell you a little bit about this wonderful performance that we got to enjoy last night with Brent Barrett and singing and Mark Hartman at the piano. Of course, as we know, Brent Barrett has had a career on Broadway that spans over 40 years, and it was a pleasure to hear him sing. He was a most grateful, gentle man, skilled. Oh my goodness, great singing. And it was a pleasure to enjoy his program, which had a beautifully put together ensemble of music selections that helped to tell his story through the different roles that he has been able to perform both on Broadway and on the West End. But the part that, oh, and before I get into that, I will say that it is great to know that we will have hopefully many more opportunities to enjoy his talent as he has invested in property here in town. So he will continue to have his Las Vegas residency, and now he has a place that he can call home here in Puerto Vallarta. But the part that I would love to gush a little bit about is not only his amazing vocal talent. Watching Brent Barrett and Mark Hartman work together, I can't help but to share a little bit of love and respect for the amazing Mark Hartman. During the performance, we learned that Mark, who is a busy piano player, accompanist, musical director, MAC Award recipient, the Manhattan Association of Cabarets and Clubs, he happened to notice that Brent Barrett was in Puerto Vallarta back in February and got in touch with him and said, hey, would you like to come back and do a few shows with me? And Brent Barrett said yes. And this was the outcome of such a knock on the door, shall we say, by Mark Hartman. So what is Mark doing? Or what Mark is doing is he's, number one, he's looking for work opportunities for himself. Number two, he's performing a priceless ambassadorial job here in Puerto Vallarta, promoting our destination as a place where we can enjoy better and better quality performers as time goes by. And number three, he is giving us tools and resources to truly learn how to tell the difference between ordinary performances and extraordinary performances. You see, yesterday during the performance, Mark sat on the piano at the back of the stage. Brent, as he should, sat on the front of the stage, and they never needed to look at one another. Each one was doing what they were supposed to be doing. And it occurred to me that Mark was playing the piano in such a free and effortless way that, as a performer, when you're standing in front of your audience and your piano player is behind you, you have to have so much faith in the fact that your accompanist is not going to drop you or play the wrong notes or play the wrong song. And it's kind of like going to a musical plastic surgeon where you put your performance in the hands of the accompanist that is sitting behind you. And this is a precious, precious experience. There was a point in the performance in which Brent and Mark were doing a duet, and Brent mistakenly sang the other character's lyrics, the lyrics that Mark was supposed to sing. So he stopped the song, he laughed about it, and he said, we're going to do this karaoke style. So see, he went behind the piano, standing next to Mark, and they both looked at the score and read it together. And the end result was not, oh, look, he screwed up. The end result was a performance that ended up being so personal, so spontaneous, and so unrepeatable that this aspect of working with live musicians is something that my humble wish is we will learn to appreciate more and more when compared to singers that get on stage, push play on a button, and sing to tracks. Are we going to shun people that sing to tracks? No. People make their choices, and some people choose to perform with tracks for whatever reason. But what I'm trying to say is that the opportunity to see a skilled musical director and pianist such as Mark Hartman is something that we can learn so much about as concert goers. And we will have, unfortunately, we will not have more opportunities this time around to enjoy Brent Barrett performing, but Mark is still in town. He is performing with Cami Desilets, who's one of our local triple threats. They're doing a Judy Garland show, and Cami is an amazing performer. She was around last night and I'm almost done. She was around last night, and I asked her, almost envious of her. I said to her, when you work with Mark, does he push you? And she said, yes, he pushes me and I push him back. And I thought to myself, how great to work with another creative soul that pushes you to become a better performer. So Mark Hartman is in town for a little while. He has two more performances in Encanto with Cami Desolates. He's also working with other musicians, other performers that are coming into town. So all I'm trying to say is we should all be grateful for having the talent that we have in this town. And we should all be grateful for individuals like Mark Hartman, whose creative output just makes our lives so much better by bringing to us more and more exciting performers each year. The end. Okay, with that gotten out of my chest, let me now take a quick look at your comments before we continue with our day. As always, it is a pleasure to read your good mornings and your hellos from all the way out there in Woodland Hills to just right around the corner here in Versalles. It's great to see you all. Our favorite hairstylist in the house is still on a cruise ship. Fantastic. Great to hear. Let's see what else we have. Michal chimes in. Was great to run into you last evening, Raymond. Indeed, Raymond, our favorite baker and punster, was at Encanto enjoying the broadcast as well. Let's see what else we have. Patty is loving the two-tone polo shirt. Well, it's what I found at Walmart. So I bought 3 of them. Let's see what else. Javier comments, I was at Boca Negra yesterday. The police had the street closed and they wanted 200 pesos to park. Ay, cosita. They allowed me to walk in for free. The authorities were involved. There was a lot of cops standing around the gate. Well, that sounds unfortunate. Why would the cops be charging 200 pesos to park? That's just disgusting. Den reports, the Versalles every other week Friday market is now located on España between Francia and Abre. I guess the owner of the restaurant it was located near 2 weeks ago complained. Interesting. Fair enough. I wanted to go see the market again, but unfortunately I was on my way into town to enjoy last night's performance. But it's good to know that I hope it was a successful market then. I would love to hear more about that. And it's a good thing that it's happening. Let's see what else. Ramon is counting days, 5 more days. Fantastic. And Michael is also counting 5 more weeks of work left till retirement. How wonderful. Let's see what else. Heather has a comment. Yes, the article about putting poison in the qualis stunned me. No pun intended. Read it twice before looking for anything that made sense. Cracked up when you said, I don't know why anyone would want to eat poisoned prawns, but maybe that's just me. Well, hello. If you have to poison them to get them out of the river and then you're going to eat them, that sounds guacala. Javier asks, is yarn absorbent? When it is cotton, it is. So for sweat rags, it's 100% cotton. It's fabulous. It's delicious. Sherry thinks these sweat rags could make great coasters. Absolutely. We're also working on better coasters for the house. Let's see what else. Gary says, I went to the beach yesterday. Everyone was having fun and behaving well. That's great. One small dust up occurred but was squashed immediately. I don't know what a dust up is. Is it like a mini tornado or, well, whatever. It doesn't sound like a good thing, but I'm glad that it was squashed immediately. Karen watched the live stream from last night from Encanto. I'm sorry to hear that the connection was not good, but it was a beautiful, beautiful performance. And of course, Rob was there, and I was so very happy to run into you, my friend. Um, and we were commenting on how Rob is keeping his mouth shut as far as the work or the installation that is going to take place in front of his co-work hotel, which, as you know, is across the street from Encanto. We are looking forward to learning more details as to knowing how that beautiful, tiny little space in front of the building is going to end up being used. Uh, Thank you for that, Piba. I hope you're having a good Semana Santa, my dear Paul, who owns Hotel Mercurio. I hope your occupation, or your occupancy rather, is good at the hotel, and that you're having a bunch of people having a good time. And thank you for your comment about Brent and Mark. It is so important that we better understand what makes these performances special. And Mark is such a treasure to our town. Let's see. I suppose disagreement is one of those mini tornadoes. Okay, thank you. That's good to know. Well, again, as I told you, we were walking down the street, and yes, a couple of cars came by blasting their music. I figured, yeah, turistas, and then there was this delivery truck. There were like 10 people behind it, inside of it, probably rather tipsy, just singing out loud. And I thought to myself, oh, they are tourists. And again, they're going to behave well, some of them, and some of them are not. I just think it's great that everybody deserves a vacation and everybody gets to enjoy it at one point or another. Speaking of enjoying, it is time for me to enjoy the rest of my weekend, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your weekend. Once again, thank you very much for being a part of our community. It is so comforting to know that every morning I will turn the lights on and the microphone on, and you'll be here to nurture my life with questions, with comments, with ideas. And we hope to be able to return in kind for many, 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 many occasions. So that's it. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe. It's still a party weekend out there. Choose to enjoy it as much as you want to, and enjoy the weekend. And I hopefully will see you again on Monday.